Hi everybody, it's Jeremy from Four Horsemen, and I am excited to bring another video to you today. This one is going to focus on the villains and how the villains work. Now, you can just, of course, read the cards, read the rules, and understand quite how they work. But I have not liked reading rule books lately, so I'm making this video for people like myself who would much rather learn from a video than from looking at cards and stuff. So just in the way of introduction, I've got this board set up, we're putting some demons on here. We've got some horsemen moving, things like that. This is just for demo purposes. It's not a real game that I'm playing. This is Michael. He will be my hero today. You'll be seeing him in some of the explanation. I've got my relic cards. I've got my character sheet. I am ready to go. All right, so in way of introduction, my first villain that I'm going to show you is Malaise. A lot of you have probably seen her. If you watch the other videos, you've definitely seen Malaise. She is the tutorial bad guy. She only lasts 6 turns, so it's pretty short. But it's just there to teach you the game. Now, all villains have their time, how many rounds they last, the events that are special to them, that influences the game to be more tailored towards their special abilities and what they're trying to accomplish. They have their special rules here, so she's got some special rules, and then their victory conditions. Now, her special rules are there to make the game a little more simple, a little easier for the heroes. The first is that we're only using stage 1 relics and events. You have this giant stack of events, and you have this giant, well, this is just a tiny portion of it, but you have a big stack of relics, and you're only going to use stage 1, right? There's stage 1 and stage 2, and you're only using half of them. Now, her other permanent effect is that you can only acquire 1 relic per round. Now, normally when you play the game, you can buy as many relics as you want, but during the playtest and things like that, I've had players who hurt themselves long term by spending, buying 4 or 5 relics at a time. Sure, they could afford it at the time, but then they go to the next round and they're broke. They have no followers, and they died of corruption or demons or whatever else. So for her, she's wants you to get the feel of the game, so she limits you to 1 relic per round. Then finally, at the end of the round, every hero is going to add 1 corruption. So this corruption track will move up pretty fast. And that's because everybody's feeling pretty sad, right? Malaise is making the world sad and making you sad, so your corruption is going up. Yeah, you're not supposed to be sad. You're a demigod. Now, to beat Malaise, you have to have only prevent 1 or more events, and you have to use these powers. So every hero has different powers, and these powers are used, you have to use these powers 5 times. She's there to teach you how to use your powers and how the game flows, and so I want to make sure that you do it. So you can use any combination. So I could use 3 Punish the Wicked and 2 Collect Alms, 5 Gather Powers, whatever combination you want. You just have to track that you've used your powers 5 times. And then when you remove an event, remember for events that there are 3 phases to the event when you play them. So this is the 3 phases of the catastrophe. And then you have 1 removal area down here, and you have to remove at least 1 event. So that teaches you that sometimes you don't have to let the event execute. You can remove it at any time. Okay. So that's Malaise. She's a tutorial. She's pretty straightforward. The other straightforward one is Despair. Despair is your generic bad guy. Despair has no special rules. You can see that from the card. You got, of course, a couple of special cards that influence it toward Despair. But your victory conditions are pretty straightforward as well. You just have to have 9 plus life and less than 7 or less corruption. So my corruption track and my life can't be tied. I can't have any fallen heroes. And then I just have to have 3 influencers there as well to market my lack of corruption to the general masses so that they have hope, right? Because despair is affecting the entire world, not just the heroes. You have to be able to market that good feeling towards everybody. Next, we have Beelzebub. Beelzebub is the demon of greed and has a couple of events related to that, right? You have Horde and you have Hunger. Beelzebub consumes your followers. So his special rule is that during the upkeep phase, the first player has to lose 1 of their followers because Beelzebub eats them. So goodbye, follower. You're going to lose a lot of followers that way. And to beat Beelzebub, each player has to sacrifice 3 of each type of follower to this abomination. So there I've sacrificed 3 of my wisdom, or my sages. I've now sacrificed 3 of my zealots. And I've sacrificed 3 of my prestigious ones, my influencers. And this is, now I've defeated it. Now, if I'd had more than 1 player, of course, I would have had to do more. I would have had to have 6. But everybody has to contribute to them. So it's really a resource heavy game. Our next villain is the first of the Greek villains, played in 11 hours. It's Hades. And Hades, whenever you advance the time track, so you're going to move the time track, you're going to double the number of demons on the board. So this can quickly spiral out of control because if I had 2, of course I'm just going to add 2 more. But, if I don't kill any of these demons, then I'm going to add 4 more. And so it can really spread the board. So Hades changes the game to where it's balanced between the horsemen and followers and demons to really be demon-centric. And you got to clear out those demons. The nice thing is you don't actually pay attention to the symbols on the board, so you won't lose a zealot when this, or a sage when this is follower. You won't lose a sage when this is follower. It ignores those. You still lose guys from this board though up here when you execute that. To win, you just have to remove all the demons from the board. So I just got to kill all of those demons. Kronos. He's the second of the Greek villains, and his powers are that he's got incarceration and swallow those cards, and his power is that he's got revenge. So anytime you get 10 or more demons in a spot, all heroes are going to lose 1 extra zealot. So, you fill this thing up, and when it gets 10, you lose 1 zealot. In order to beat him, you have to have 1 area with 9 demons. So there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so that's creating a big Titan demon to go and fight Kronos. Now, remember, if you have over 10 at the end of a round, you lose the game. So you've got to balance, keeping the demons under control with trying to get this big stack. And that's how you beat him. Now we're to our first of our Christian villains, and this is Asmodus. And she has possession as her card. Her power is that she adds extra demons to the board every round. So round 1, you're going to add 0. Round 2, you're going to add 1 extra. Round 3, you're going to add 2 extra. And it's just how many rounds you've finished so far. And they go to a random zone. So I'd actually roll the dice and I put them there. So this is the next round. I'm going to put 3 demons here. So she's going to get some pretty big stacks because by the end, of course, you're adding 7 at once. Now, that's not bad because her strategy, she requires you to have at least 5 zones with 5+ demons in order to win. So you can't kill off all the demons. You have to let her think she's won and have 1 area where you can stand where there are no demons. I have to have 5 areas with 5+ demons for her to be satiated and go back to wherever she came from. You've got to balance, right? Killing demons, trying to make sure that you don't go over with letting them spawn. Abadon is the second of the Christian ones at 13 hours and got 2 different powers. And every hour you're going to roll a dice, and that's going to block certain cards from you going. So with a 3, you can look and it says, I have no flame cards. So the relic cards each have these traits on them. So they have powers and they have traits. So you have Zeal, Spirit, and Command. You can see that on the lotus there. You can see on this lotus, it has General, Spirit, and Power. You can see on this, let's find this Flaming Sword. You can see it has Flame, right? So Corruption, Flame, Restriction. That means because this one has Flame and I rolled that 3, that means I can't actually play or use this card during my turn. I'm blocked from using that card, so I have to play maybe less optimal than I would have liked. And in fact, card drawing powers are very good in this one because you want to have extra cards in your hand every turn in case they get blocked. Abadon's to defeat Abadon, you have to let the game play out. You just have to survive. And that means not removing event cards. Remember, you remove them by paying the cost here at the bottom. Not paying that X cost, that removal cost. And also, every hero having 10 plus life. That's how you survive. You have to have 10 plus life. You can be fallen as long as you have 10 plus life. So that's Abadon. The next one I will introduce is Pazuzu. Pazuzu is quite difficult because Pazuzu changes the game the opposite of Hades. Hades, remember, adds lots of demons and de-emphasizes the Horsemen a little bit. Pazuzu does the opposite. Pazuzu moves, every Horseman that moves is Famine. So anytime you draw a Horseman symbol, Famine's going to move up the track, right? And so if Famine reaches the middle, of course, it's game over. But to beat Pazuzu, you have to have Famine at the starting spot. Pazuzu requires a lot of thought on exactly which cards you're going to buy and why and when you're going to use them, because a lot of Horseman manipulation to make sure that you don't get too many penalties and things. So that's Pazuzu. Iblis. This one is probably my favorite of the bad guys. I really like Iblis. Got Burn and Eruption as his cards, but the special thing about Iblis is every turn, Iblis is a fire demon from Babylonian, and every turn he throws a giant boulder at one zone and destroys it. And any heroes in that zone take 1 damage. Okay, 1 damage per hero. And so it sometimes you're like, oh, let's all group up and we won't roll that number, or you spread out and take the damage. What you don't know, what are you gonna do? So I just would roll the dice, and if it rolls a 2, for example, let's say I rolled a 2, a fiery boulder is gonna come from the sky from the volcano, which is Iblis, and erupt right there in this first spot. Boom, destroying that spot. So Iblis has, so first it kills the demon. Second, I lose this life. And third, it's shortening the track. So by the end of this game, you might have, a track with almost no spots left. Like, for example, that might have 2 left. So once you get up to the 10th spot, you're in trouble, you're in danger of losing. So Iblis shortens that track considerably. And to beat Iblis, you have to have 4 zones without demons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 here. I would be able to beat Iblis at the end of that round, at the end of the 13th hour. The next one that I will show you is Lohi. Lohi is a Finnish demon, and her magic focuses on protecting her fellow demons. Okay, she can. For her, you can never remove the last demon in the zone. So if I've got a power that killed, say, 5 guys here, I would take off these 4, but this last demon wouldn't die. Instead, this last demon moves to a random zone. So I'd roll the dice. I got a 3, so this demon actually teleports over to here. If I got into 2, it would teleport to here, so it just moves around the board. So ideally, you want to be able to stack these demons up so you can kill some of them and just move the last one. But that last one can never be gotten rid of. The last one in each area. Lohi requires you to cast 2 binding rituals to win. So you have to do 2 different spells. She's very powerful in magic, in mythology. And therefore, you can't just hold her with 1 binding ritual. You have to hold her with 2. The next one I'll introduce is Lilith. Lilith is both a playable character and a villain, right? So she's 11 hours, and she's not actually interested in conquering the world. She's interested in corrupting the world. So she has her own icon, her own mini right here, right? This is Lilith, or her own standee, depending on which version you got. And she actually is going to move around the world, causing corruption. So at the start of each turn, you're going to roll the dice to see where she moves, and she moves randomly. And so when she moves, she is going to kill off all of the demons in that area and replace them with these black corruption tokens. Okay, so these ones are white, but the tokens are black. So there's these black corruption tokens that she now has. Now, a hero that moves to a zone with a corruption token takes off one of these and adds it to their corruption track. So my corruption track is going to go up pretty fast with Lilith. And in order to win, you have to have 1 zone per hero cleared of corruption. I can remove the other 2 corruptions by spending 2 followers of any type per corruption in removing it. So for the first one, I could spend a prestige and a zealot. That'll remove that guy. And then I could spend a sage and a zealot, and that will remove the second one. So now this zone is free of corruption. And so that's Lilith. She's very fun. Then the next one I'll show you is Krampus. He's here for the holidays and ready to give gifts. Not all of them are good gifts. In fact, at the start of every turn, you roll the dice. 1 through 4 are good gifts, and 5 and 6 are bad. There's a lot of randomness in him, especially compared to a lot of the other ones. But in order to win, you have to show him your holiday spirit. So there's these relics that have the keywords on it that I mentioned before. But for example, this one says the word spirit on it. This red lotus says the word spirit. I have to have 6 cards that have the word spirit as a keyword. So if I don't, like here's another one, Prospero's Staff. It's got spirit in there. So I need to get 6 of those into one hero's deck, just one hero's deck. And then I've taught Krampus the meaning of Christmas, and he will go away and never bother the people again. Bribery is the Kickstarter exclusive bad guy, so this one won't be repeated. So thank you for backing. I really appreciate it, and I am looking forward to you guys getting the game. So close to shipping. Everything's manufactured. We're just waiting for it to leave get on a boat and go. So yeah, it'll be there soon. But the Bribery is a little chaotic, and for one player, you roll a die. For one player, you roll a dice, and if it's a 5 or 6, you have to acquire a random relic instead of the one you wanted, and you get a demon on the board. Now, if it's more players, you give the relic to a random hero instead of yourself. So you would, if I've got 2 players, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just roll a dice and see who it goes to. So I might be giving relics that my team member can't readily use because it's not their character. Like, for example, I might be giving an Egyptian card to a Christian hero or something like that. And so Bribery can really mess up your game. Now, there's 2 villains that I don't have the card for because there were mistakes on it, and I fixed the card. You'll be getting those in your package or in your box, and with updated contents. And that's Cthulhu and Behemoth. They both had misprinted instructions on their card, so I am reprinting those 2, or they are reprinted already, and they're going into your boxes now. But Behemoth is a big mini guy too. He's got this big giant guy, and the only way to defeat Behemoth is to fight him. So Behemoth, whenever you spawn demons, they actually spawn at his location. So, if I spawn 4 demons, they're all going to spawn right here and be his little babies. So you got to go over and kill them. After you kill these demons, then you can damage Behemoth directly, and the game ends as soon as Behemoth dies. So this turns the 4 Horsemen into a more general boss battler, where I'm just attacking this guy. I need to do 30 points of damage per hero to him, and then he dies. And I have won the day. So you can do it really fast. I will warn you that the longer you let Behemoth go, the harder he gets. So killing him quickly is advisable, but you also don't want to be here when he attacks, because Behemoth attacks back at the heroes and can hurt them. Great. Okay, last one is Cthulhu. And normally in your deck, you start with 10 cards, right? Most heroes start with 10 cards in their deck. And Cthulhu makes you empty this deck. So all of your 10 cards have to be gone by the end of the game, or else you lose. And the way that works is every round you have your sacrifice card, right? You're going to lose your sacrifice card every single turn. But you're also going to have to lose one of your cards that you play as a boon. So you're never going to get the big special effect for that one. And he plays in 10 rounds. And so every time you're losing 2 cards, buying 1. By the end of the game, you have exactly 2 cards in your hand, and you've got to play those 2 cards. So you have less and less options as you go, but he basically kills your relics. He sucks the power out of those every single turn, and that's Cthulhu. I do have more demons. The whole stack over here is for the expansions. And if you liked this video, I'll do one for all the expansion demons as well. That could be pretty fun. I don't think I've shown those off very often. But you have like I'm also really bad at pronouncing Hundun, Teoti, Fenrir, Tau, Loki, a whole bunch of different villains there. So let me know in the comments if you want me to make another video. And if you do, I will get right on that. Thanks.